Jo em posaria allà i aniré recollint el que es pot. Miro les preguntes. Obrim. 11 les considerarem escrites i les considerarem els punts. Això també ho feien en el... Això ho vam fer a la cambra, recordes? Sí. Però si vols que sigui menys compromès i menys estrès, podem fer això. Si les persones teniu alguna pregunta, no sé. Coses que no ho han llegit en els primers.
Però com que ens en ja. Mira, aquí és el que s'ha connectat ara. Aquest és l'Eleni. Welcome, Eleni. No sé si m'hi oye. No, aquest és un senyor.
Bueno, ho faràs molt bé.
It's our first experience in Web International Conference, so... Venga, José Luis, que ya lo tenemos esto.
No estem emetent ja en directe? Surt la senyal aquí del live en YouTube.
Sí, estem emetent.
¿Sí? Yo no lo veo en la pantalla grande. We have different screens here in this room, so we can see Facebook, streaming, YouTube, everything. Has de posar allà, Si no, no ho veuràs. En vídeos, en directo. Però has d'anar a l'opció. Sí, pon en directo, Olga.
Iniciamos.
¿Estamos dentro?
Sí.
So, welcome to the first International Web Conference on Social Economy of the Social Neet Project, and welcome to Mataró Municipality. I'm Viviana Perez, and my colleague Olga Weiss is in charge with Social Neet Project here in Mataró, and it's a pleasure for our city to host this first conference on social economy. This conference is a part of social economy awareness actions of Social Neet projects. As many of you know, we are 7 countries are participating in the project: Greece, Portugal, Poland, Italy, Belgium, Slovenia, and us. And a project is found by EEA Grants Nordic Funds. Social Neet is to fight youth employment by promoting social and solidarity economy business initiative. And the project was launched in the 2nd of 2019 and is expected to be complete in the 3rd quarter of the next year. Why this conference? This conference is to present different international social economy project experience that aim to fight youth employment. We want to emphasize the social innovation and social entrepreneurship seek solutions to our society real problems. There is a greater awareness of social entrepreneurship as a potential tool for Neet's economy progress. As technical issues for this first conference, the event has 2 parts. The first roundtable aims to present experience promoted by the public administration through all Europe. And the second roundtable aims to present different experience, in this case promoted by administration, entrepreneurships, and different associations. Victor Massaguet, director of the Social Economy Europe, will moderate the 2 roundtables. Thank you, Victor. And he will also introduce the different speakers. He also will be in charge to monitoring the time and to be with the time in our schedule. The event will close by Vincent Lagarde, Policy Office of the European Parliament's Social Economy Working Group, who will explain the lines of working and priorities for social economy in the next 2019-2024 period from Frame Worker Europe. So without to add anything, I will introduce Sergi Morales, our policy in charge here in Mataró from social economy. And he will introduce our city and why Mataró is fighting job employment by social economy. Sergi, welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the International Conference on Social Economy that we are organizing in the city of Mataró as part of the Social Neet project. Although we would like to be able to hold this conference with face-to-face and show you our city and also our ecosystem and heritage of the social economy. These are the reasons due to this pandemic we had to do in this format. However, we have to see the positive side, and this format will allow many more people from any corner of Europe to participate. So welcome, even if it is virtuality, and I also send you a greeting from our mayor. It's a pleasure to have the speakers who will accompany us today from different European countries, who will tell us their experiences and social economy projects. And I will especially like to thank the support received from the EEA and Norway Fund grants, as Viviana said before, to the Social Economy Europe, and especially its president, Juan Antonio Pedreño, and its director, Victor Meseguer, that is today with us, and to all the partners of the Neet social project. And of course, to the two technicians responsible at the local level, Olga and Viviana, for their great effort despite the difficulties due to the current situation. Before giving a start to this conference, I would like to highlight the reasons why our city participates in this project. The government that I represent has one of the priorities, that is the promotion of the social economy as a model of organization with deeply democratic values, and that puts people at the middle of everything, contributing to the common good and to being a tool of economic and social growth. But also, social economic projects fight against youth unemployment, from which our city is not exempt, with rates that will unfortunately be even worse after this pandemic. Two issues that we will address indeed today. In addition, Mataró, as maybe you know, is a city with a long cooperative tradition. In fact, some historians place Mataró as one of the pioneering cities in cooperatives in Mataró during the second half of the 19th century, exactly in 1864, called L'Obrera Mataronense, was founded as a textile cooperative. Thus, the first stone was laid that would give rise to the origin of the social and solidarity economy. But after that, we could put many examples of workers' cooperative in our city, and a clear example was the cooperative form del Vidre, which is just still celebrating the centenary of its creation this year. This entity was a workers' symbols that provide light bulbs around the world, and even its director, Joan Peiró, was a minister of the Republic, but some years later he was persecuted and killed with fascists. Today, our city has a wide network of active agents in the field of social economy and with the support of the municipality, which is committed to consolidating the social and solidarity economy and attracting new social projects to Mataró. I will use some examples. The Foundation Unión of Cooperatives de Mataró, formed by municipality and the union itself, with the aim of recovering part of its cooperative heritage lost during the Franco dictatorship and making it available to different cooperatives projects. It has its own emblematic space that is currently the reference building for cooperatives in the city. called Café de Mar and where is the meeting point of the Social Neet project. Mataró currently participates and leads different social economy projects in various fields, such as Nursery of Social Economy Enterprise in Café de Mar building, where Social Neet project has the meeting point, European project called Yes We Rent, that it's about a creation of social rental cooperative, a local economic fund for social economy projects, a program to offer support for entrepreneurial projects, a training program for a promotion social economy among high school students, and of course, the social need. As you can see, we are working in the social economy from different fields and in a transversal way. We have entrepreneurship projects to generate employment, to promote the economy, for culture, social housing projects, awareness in schools and among young people. In recent months, we have experienced an unprecedented new and unknown crisis, and the social economy project has shown that it is necessary to talk about new ways of doing business in medium and long term, to broaden our focus and not just make the usual policies, but also to think that there are more social, democratic, and transformative alternatives that are possible. Mataró believes that promoting the economy, the social economy, consists to accompanying, strengthening, and consolidating the social and economic entities and agents already work in our territory, so it can help us to reduce inequalities and work for the common good. Have a great day, and thank you for participating in the first International Web Conference on Social Economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to everyone, to the organizers of the Social Neet project, to the different partners, to the city of Mataró, in particular to Sergi. It's an honor to speak after the deputy mayor of the city of Mataró, who is not only deputy mayor, but also a person that comes from the social economy and cooperative movements, very well connected to the grassroots, to the history, and to promoting this business model in this city, in this beautiful city of Mataró. So very honored to be here with you, with all of you. Thanks also to Olga and Viviana that have organized the technical part of this event and that contacted us some weeks ago. And again, congratulations for the beautiful project that all of you have built on such an important topic as it is social economy, generating opportunities for young people, which are far from the labor market and far from education. I will try to be very brief before introducing a fantastic panel with Kaja Kung from Slovenia, Elena Zoli from Greece, from the Directorate for Social and Solidarity Economy of the Ministry of Employment of Greece, and with Stelios Katomeris from the Union of Social and Solidarity Economy Enterprises in Attica. Before that, I'll share a very brief presentation trying to give to all of you, sorry for sharing that, trying to give to all of you an idea of what we do at Social Economy Europe, and to fight and to defend for the rights and for further opportunities for the social economy movement in Europe. So first of all, a very brief explanation of what the social economy, how the social economy is seen as at European level. Just like the European Union, we are united in diversity. We are a diversity of business and legal forms, very diverse across Europe, united among principles and values that give us and that shape our identity. Enterprises such as cooperatives, mutuals, associations, foundations, social enterprises, paritarian institutions, and much more, many other enterprises and many legal forms specific to each member state that are united around common values such as the primacy of the individual and the social objective over capital, democratic governance, and the reinvestment of most of the profits. The social economy goes from the non-for-profit to the limited profit distribution. And the social economy, as Sergi said before, is about people first, people and the social objective over the maximization of profits. Just a sec. Yeah. These alliance of factors at European level, represents 8% of the European GDP. We are talking about 2.8 million social economy enterprises and organizations all over the European Union, employing 30.6 million Europeans, and with more than 200 million members of cooperatives, mutuals, and similar forms. A very successful alliance, a European success story that is everywhere in Europe, providing solutions from the grassroots, from the ground, to social, economic, and environmental challenges. And now I will try to move on quickly to the current moment. As Sergi said, we are in the middle of an unprecedented crisis. An unprecedented crisis that is heavily affecting all enterprises, the public sector, citizens, our health, and also, of course, the social economy. It is a critical situation, but there are some positive things that I think that we all should know. First of all, as you very well know, the European Union has presented a recovery plan for the European Union called Next Generation EU. This was agreed by EU leaders, by the heads of state and government of the 27 member states just in July. Given this unprecedented crisis, they agreed to launch an unprecedented quantity of money to rebuild our economies, to reshape our economies in a better way. We are talking about 750 billion euros in addition to the European budget, to the European MFF 2020-2027. The first good news is that the social economy has been identified by the European Commission as one of the industrial ecosystems for the recovery of Europe. I forgot to say previously that social economy is everywhere geographically in Europe, but also everywhere in every economic sector, in every sector of economic and human activity, from the social sector to industry, tourism, services. Everywhere there is a social economy enterprise in Europe. So again, good news, social economy has been identified by the European Union as one of the key ecosystems for building back better our economies. This is, as I said before, are some images of the recovery fund, of the recovery effort that has just been agreed by the Council and now needs to be approved as soon as possible, also by the European Parliament. As I said, we are talking about 750 billion, of which 772 billion will be under the Recovery and Resilience Facility. You know that EU words are very complicated, but please keep in your mind, Recovery and Resilience Facility, this is the heart of the recovery effort. And as you maybe know also, this money will be managed on a decentralized way. It will be managed from the capitals, from the regions, in coordination with the sectors, with the different industrial ecosystems. It will not be managed from Brussels. It is money that Brussels needs to mobilize and give to the different member states of the European Union to adapt to the reality of each member state, to have certain flexibility and be capable of promoting the recovery in these different countries of Europe. What it is important, two things on top of that to explain what the situation is right now. The first thing, of course, the European Commission and the European Union will have a certain control because member states need to present in the coming months recovery and resilience plans that need to be presented by the different member states, the different governments to the European Union. They need to be approved by the European Union. And what it is important, what the European Union is already inviting member states to do, is to elaborate this recovery and resilience plan in consultation with all relevant stakeholders, including the social economy. So social economy actors need to mobilize, to get in touch with the governments, to co-design these recovery and resilience plans and be part of the solution, be part of tomorrow's economy, be part of the better economy that we want to build. An economy that faces the green transition, an economy that faces the digital transition, but also an economy that is more resilient to the crisis and that leaves no one behind. This is an example of what is already happening in Europe. Several of our members are already in contact with their national governments to ensure that social economy is part of these national recovery and resilience plans. Yesterday, my president, the president of Social Economy Europe, Juan Antonio Pedreño, alongside with the whole Spanish social economy, with the main social economy leaders of Spain, met with the president of the Spanish government and with the Minister of Labor and Social Economy, precisely to ensure that social economy is mainstream in this recovery effort, in building back better. It is very important to explain why, but before that, it's also very important to explain how we are going to do it. The reality is that we have little chances to access this money for several reasons. It is managed on a decentralized way, but at member state level, at national level, it will be centralized by the national governments. And our enterprises, we have some unicorns which are big and important, but most of our enterprises are SMEs with a limited access to central governments. Reason number one. Reason number two, experience. Experience shows that we are 10%, almost 10% of the European GDP. We are 2.8 million enterprises, but you know, in the Juncker plan, we are just 2% of the projects funded by the Juncker plan. So the experience shows that we have obstacles to access this money. And many times because of the size of our enterprises and the lack of interlocution, direct interlocution with the national governments and also with the European Investment Bank and other institutions. So we need to find solutions. We don't need only to complain about this reality, we need to find solutions to that. And the solution is to create intermediary bodies between the governments and the social economy. Funds, specific funds, addressing the recovery and the promotion of the social economy, which are, again, so that governments engage to dedicate a part of this recovery effort to the social economy and create an intermediary body which can be in contact and to which social economy, enterprise and organizations can submit projects to be funded or financed. And the why? Why social economy is important for the recovery? We are important for the recovery because we foster collective entrepreneurship. And you know, collective entrepreneurship is more resilient. When we are alone, I mean, auto-entrepreneurship, self-entrepreneurship is an easy solution, is a very good solution, is a very brave decision and courageous decision, but alone we are less, we are less resilient to crisis. We are more weaker, particularly when we are talking already about vulnerable people. So getting together, starting a business together is a way to, one, build more strategic projects, and second, resist better under a solidarity principle to the crisis. It's also a way to reindustrialize our territories. Look, maybe we have a lot of deficits in Europe, but if we have something, is human capital. Let's capitalize on this human capital. Let's make students out of university or people out of vocational training. Let's support them to create collective businesses, collective enterprises that can be strategic for the development of our regions and territories. We are also keen on strengthening the quality of our welfare systems. We are also keen accelerating the green transition, and two words: social economy is leader in the circular economy, and social economy, and particularly renewable energy cooperatives, are leader in the transition towards renewable energies. And we are key through work integration social enterprises to ensure that no one is left behind. Some examples of that, some photos of that in industry, circular economy, and renewable energies. I will try to be brief because the panel is the real protagonist of today, the two panels, and the people from the ground that want to share their experiences and how they have implemented this project. But we have a lot of opportunities in the coming months. First, to influence this recovery effort that comes from the European Union and will be managed in cooperation with member states. And second, also because next year the European Union will launch a European action plan for the social economy, a European agenda aiming to give coherence to the different policies and funds that are supporting already the social economy and aims to go beyond. An action plan for the social economy that has to interact with national laws and national policies for the social economy, give an umbrella, give a framework, and support the efforts of national, regional, and local public authorities. Those are some ideas to promote the social economy, but I am sure that the panelists will talk about that. And with that, I will end my presentation and give the floor to our very first speaker, who is Kaja Kung, sorry for my pronunciation, Kaja, from Slovenia, who is a partner of this project.
Hello, I hope you hear me. I like your pronunciation, so thank you for introducing me and having the opportunity to speak a bit about our project, social innovators, I was really thinking which aspect I could present here today that may be interesting mostly. But before I do that, I would like to share a video with you that will explain in the best and easiest way probably what we are actually trying to do with the project.
Background in humanities and social sciences can help you build a career in a wide variety of areas. However, first steps in the world of employment might be challenging. Are you feeling lost, confused, and pessimistic? Do you believe in a better society and want not just to work, but to do something for your community as well? Do you work in a civil society organization? Does your organization struggle to find motivated and competent workers skilled in advocacy, finances, project management, and communication? Are you interested in developing your mentoring skills? Did you know that 16.5% of young people in the European Union are not in education, employment, or training? Did you know that the number of people working in civil society organizations should be bigger than it currently is? This was concluded in an online survey of 85 organizations in Slovenia, Bulgaria, and Croatia in 2019. We present to you the Social Innovators Project, bringing together the youth and civil society organizations with one core topic of interest: social innovations. The core activities in the project implemented in Bulgaria, Croatia, and Slovenia are the Apprenticeship Program, the Social Innovations Practitioner Program, Social Innovation Hubs, as well as a public campaign and advocacy for building a social innovations ecosystem. Young unemployed people will get practical training in civil society organizations. Through a combination of job shadowing, working in teams, practical tasks, and individual projects, they will learn skills in project management, advocacy, and other areas, increasing their chances to get a job and contribute to social change. The Social Innovators Project offers an informal educational program. The program provides a theoretical and practical framework for bringing social innovations to local communities. After the 150 hours of training, the program participants will become social innovation practitioners, ready to use their skills and knowledge for greater good. A vibrant, interactive space is of utmost importance. This is why we built 3 fluid and practical innovation hubs. The hubs will bring together civil society organizations, citizens, and students working jointly on new solutions for a better society. They promote our shared values and serve as a place to connect, exchange ideas, innovate, and bring social innovations to life. Social Innovators plan to reach several thousand participants across countries by 2022. With all these activities, Social Innovators will help employ young people and help organizations find workers. Young people will gain valuable working experiences and get a chance to do meaningful work in their communities. The Social Innovators Project is implemented by VINA, National Management School, Youth Initiative for Human Rights, and Østfold University College. Still thinking about it? Join us now on web and social media. The Social Innovators Project is funded by Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway through the EEA and Norway Grants Fund for Youth Employment.
So this was a short introduction to the project, but now I would like to continue with what you were saying, that we have a lot of potential in young people, and this is where our project is focused on, and where I see compatibility with what you are saying. So we have an enormous amount of young people that are studying social science and humanities that have a potential to work on issues that are globally recognized and important. but maybe that transfer from the knowledge they get at universities is really not transforming to their work environment. And especially me as a member of civil society organization, we are not best at promoting ourselves as the social innovators. But if you look at the history, we actually are. This is the sector that has always been in deep contact with grassroots movements, with true issues, and has a lot of tools and options for these young talents to really contribute to improving or even to solving some of the issues we are facing globally, nationally, locally. And so what I would like to share with you today is a piece of the activities that I found is maybe most interesting, and this is the apprenticeship model that we have built. And I will again share the screen. What did we do? We decided that we need to come up with a frame to say that working in civil society organization and that solving global issues is a sexy and cool job. You know, we are bad at promoting ourselves like the really good employer. So we joined forces and started a national campaign called Nurturing the World Can Be a Job. And we connected with a really nice advertising agency that connected this whole campaign to actually gaining young people to join the apprenticeship. So how did we start? Firstly, by our Croatian partner, Youth Initiative for Human Rights, we started to diagnose exactly what are the skills that the civil society organizations have and are missing when it comes to human capital. We conducted online survey with civil society organizations, did interviews with them, and then did data analysis. And that was the basis that we formed an apprenticeship model. We decided to start with 80 hours of, we called it education at work, not apprenticeships, that should be conducted in a period not longer than 3 months. And a young person can choose between 5 educational profiles, and they go through 4 different models. We created a handbook, like a training kit for mentors, and developed the whole proposition of activities that then mentors can do with these students or young people once they do apprenticeship and them. But we said, you know, if we are campaigning, let's go big and let's do a national call for civil society organizations and have them accountable and explain to them that, you know, if you take up a mentorship, it's important how you conduct it. Don't just put a person there, show your credibility, show what you are capable of. So we did an online call for civil society organizations with a deadline application where they had to define the mentors, the fields, and so on. And in Slovenia, we selected 48 organizations that were in the next phase included in a big national campaign. We had jumbos all around. We were included in mass media. We were present on social media and so on. And everything was really connected to the concept that I was saying, that nurturing the world can be a job. And we had a really, really positive feedback from young people. And in Slovenia, more than 180 applied. They had to select organizations that we previously selected where they want to do apprenticeships. Then we did the matchup, and since now is September, with 1st of October, we will start with those apprenticeships that will continue all the way till May 2021. But we see the bigger picture behind it. One is that we have to promote our sector as an employer. We are facing, and we need professional and skilled people that are willing and dedicated to work in our premises, in our fields, in our work offices. But the bigger is, and here comes a personal disappointment, many times civil society organizations develop really nice activities, programs, but they rarely become part of a national public structures. So what we are really emphasizing here is that we are building the model that could be really easily adapted, financially supported, and included in the new legislation or actions that will be focused on youth employment in Slovenia. So I hope that was brief enough and in the time frame that I have, and I'm really open for questions. So that's it from my side.
It was super well done, Kanya. Congratulations for this beautiful campaign. And I think that there is a lot of, among other things, this is a beautiful event because there is a lot of connections to do. And just one message, because it's important to connect the dots. The social economy is the economy of the civil society, is the evolution of not the evolution because the civil society is already very well evolved, but the evolution into the economic sphere. A group of unemployed workers in Mataró creating a textile cooperative because they had a social challenge. The mutualist movement, taking care of each other through associations, through mutuals, before the healthcare system existed, or buying together, producing together energy, and consuming together this energy. So very important to make the connection between civil society and the social economy, and very similar challenges actually also in terms of communicating and getting in touch with skilled people and skilled youngsters. So that's quite important. What I will do now, without further ado, because I talk a lot, and again, I am not the protagonist of this, is giving the floor to Eleni Soli from the Ministry of Employment of Greece, and who works in the Directorate for Social and Solidarity Economy of that country. Eleni, the floor is yours to give us a presentation and explain what you do in Greece to promote social economy as a driver of opportunities for young people. We don't hear you, Eleni, because you are muted. There you go. We hear you a bit down, but we hear you.
Oh, thank you. Good morning from Greece. Thank you for the invitation and the great initiative for the organization of the international conference. I'm Eleni Soli, and the presentation focuses on the social entrepreneurship in Greece and the public policies to support young social entrepreneurship. Here we can see the structure of the presentation. First of all, we will see the definition of the social and solidarity economy and social enterprises. Then we will see the institutional framework, legal forms of enterprises, social enterprises. We will focus on the integration of social cooperative enterprises. We will see the program with the Manpower Employment Organization, 2 seminars with thematic workshops, a best practice here in Greece, and I will end up with the conclusions of the presentation. The social and solidarity economy is an alternative to capitalism and other state-dominated economic systems. The definition of a social enterprise, according to the European Commission, is based on 3 dimensions: the entrepreneurial dimension, the social dimension, and the one related to the governance structure. In social enterprises, there is a participatory governance model, and the profit distribution constraint, especially on assets, guarantees that the enterprise's social purpose is safeguarded. In Greece, we have an institutional framework, the first law enacted in 2011, and now we have the law 4030 of 2016, which elaborates on the social and solidarity economy and offers a new framework for diverse types of social enterprises that have a clear collective and social impact. The legal forms of social enterprises in Greece are the following. First of all, we have social cooperative enterprises that are further categorized into 2 types according to their purpose. We have inclusion or for integration social cooperative enterprises, which have at its purpose the socioeconomic inclusion of people belonging to vulnerable or special groups of the population, mainly through work integration. As we can see to the pie chart, these social enterprises for integration, it's 43, corresponding almost 2% of the total number of social enterprises. The second category of social cooperative enterprises are these of collective and social impact. It's the blue color, which are the most common ones. We have 1,764. Except of these social enterprises, we have worker cooperatives, which are 29, and limited liability social cooperatives, which are 29. In addition to social enterprises, Law 4030 of 2016 offers in other social and solidarity economy entities, such as non-profit organizations and other cooperatives, the possibility to be registered as a social solidarity entities. Now we will focus on the social cooperative enterprises for integration. They focus on the social and economic integration of groups at risk. For example, disabled people, drug addicts, young offenders, refugees and asylum seekers, single parent families, victims of human trafficking, etc. Furthermore, at least 40 or 30% of these employees in these enterprises must come from social groups at risk. Long-term unemployed young people up to 25 years old are a category of vulnerable groups of the population. According to the Hellenic Statistical Authority, the age group between 15 and 24 has the highest unemployment rate here in Greece. It's almost 40%, as we can see at the table. Unfortunately, we have only a few social cooperative enterprises for integration, and there are limited flexible provisions for them. However, a lot of young people took the initiative here in Greece to create in general social enterprises, and the majority of active members in social enterprises are young. The registration of social and solidarity entities until August of 2020 are 1,737. The number of employees in social enterprises in Greece is 3,038. The majority of social and solidarity organizations in Greece have been small in size and recently established. According to the annual report created by the Directorate of Social and Solidarity Economy and will be published soon, in 2018, social and solidarity entities in Greece demonstrate a total annual turnover almost 33 million euro. And the number of overage employees is almost 1, with the exception of other social and solidarity entities. The number of overage employees is almost 16. In addition, most of the social and solidarity entities present small amount of profits and subsidized. A lot of young people are members and employees in social enterprises after applying at the subsidized jobs of the Manpower Employment Organization. One category of it's a public organization supervised by the Greek Ministry of Labor. One category of social enterprises is worker cooperatives or worker-owned cooperatives that are equally owned and governed by their employees who making a living producing goods and services. We have 29 worker cooperatives, and the majority of its members and employees in Greece is young people. We have architect worker cooperatives, computer science worker cooperatives, and other scientific worker cooperatives. In Greece, social leadership can play an important role in reintegration of the youth of vulnerable groups into the labor market. The unemployment statistics reveal also a gender dimension or a gender gap in youth unemployment in Greece, with more young women out of work than men. Social entrepreneurship would also reduce gender inequalities that lead to unemployment and poverty. According to the above, the Directorate of Social and Solidarity Economy cooperates with the Manpower Employment Organization for the implementation of a program aiming to integrate graduates and young people graduating from apprenticeship vocational schools into the labor market through social entrepreneurship. The program we're planning includes two actions. The first action concerns the integration into the labor market of the young people with disabilities who have completed the vocational training program of the Manpower Employment Organization in Athens and Thessaloniki. In particular, we are planning to create two integration social cooperative enterprises, initially in Athens and then in Thessaloniki. Young people with disabilities who have completed the vocational training program of the Manpower Employment Organization will be members and employees of the two social enterprises. They will be supported both for the initial creation and the function by the Directorate of Social and Solidarity Economy, business consultants of the Manpower Employment Organization, and the two support centers of Social and Solidarity Economy. The second action concerns the information and the education of students attending the apprenticeship schools of the Manpower Employment Organization about the opportunities offered by the Social and Solidarity Economy so as to facilitate their integration into the labor market. Those young people interested in setting up a social cooperative enterprise or a worker cooperative, they will have the support of the services I mentioned above. In addition, our service is planning to hold two seminars with thematic workshops for the employment opportunities for the needs through the third sector. The first seminar will be addressed to young people, to young graduates from higher and technological educational institutions. And the second seminar will include unemployed young people and the beneficiaries of the minimum guaranteed income. We think that social policies at the education field should take into account all educational levels, elementary schools, secondary schools, and higher education, aiming to strengthen the cooperative model.
Lenny, what you're saying is super interesting. They are asking me to check the time, so I will ask you to finish. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Perfect.
It is mentioning an example of a best practice where students of Elysium collaborated with students with disabilities of a special school in an educational program and creating a social enterprise, initially virtual, but today operates with encouraging results. We want to point out that social entrepreneurship can enhance employment of youth, provides working conditions based on the principles of democracy, equity, and solidarity, and can become an alternative in employment sectors where the public sector is unable to cover and the profit sector does not invest. In conclusion, we should mention that the ecosystem of the social and solidarity economies in Greece remains small in comparison to other countries in the European Union. It's very important for the public administration that promote public policies for the young social entrepreneurship to exchange experience and best practices and cooperate with other countries which have experience and develop innovative programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleni, for this very good presentation of public policies in Greece to promote the social economy, which indeed are quite innovative and quite new, as they are all under the umbrella of the 2016 law on social and solidarity economy. So congratulations for this work that you are doing to promote the social economy, the social and solidarity economy in Greece. And now I will pass the floor to Stelios Katomeris. Stelios, I think I know you from some travels to Athens, in which we discuss about social economy in Greece. Stelios is vice chairman of the Union of Social and Solidarity Economy of Attica, if I'm not wrong. So Stelios, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me check now how I share screen. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for being here. Greetings from the field of social economy. Victor is a person we know very much. He has come here many times. We have exchanged ideas and information. So let me say in brief some things about us, because it's necessary to have the feeling of our reality, as we can say. So let me start saying that the topic is the social economy entities in Greece, the legal framework that Mrs. Zoli already spoken about, but we want to see what is the Neet's imprint on it, which is a point of our discussion today. So in brief history, we can say that the first time we had introduced here in Greece social economy was with the law of 2011, the law 1419. Then a new entity appeared under the name Social Cooperative Enterprise. We call it in Greek KINSEP. Everybody here says KINSEP because it's the Greek abbreviation of Social and Cooperative Enterprise translation. The Social Cooperative Enterprise KINSEP has two main basic characteristics. It's formed as an urban cooperative according to the law, so it is cooperative, fully cooperative. And second is combining social work integration within a sustainable business activity. As everybody knows, it's a kind of work integration enterprise. Of course, as a cooperative follows the 7 basic principles of cooperatives: voluntary and open membership, democratic member control, member economic participation, autonomy and independence, education inside it, and of course sharing with other cooperatives as well, cooperation among cooperatives. We have already set up unions of first and second degree already, and concern for community. Of course, it is our kind to concern for community. So cooperatives are based on the values of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity. Let's see the new law. The new law appeared when a tremendous 27% of unemployment was starting appear in our country. Then people under 25 years old were at 50% unemployment. So the new law proposed new categories of KINSEP, consolidating all previous constituted entities. So we have 3 different kind of KINSEP. The first kind of KINSEP, the first KINSEP is KINSEP of inclusion, but is divided into 2 subtypes. One subtype is about vulnerable groups inclusion, handicapped persons and mobility and with mobility and mental disabilities. And the second subtype is the special groups inclusion. Saying special group inclusion, we mean socially marginalized individuals. This is the first type, KINSEP for inclusion, with 2 subtypes according to the law. The second type, already Mrs. Zoli said, is for collective and social benefit. It's a kind of trading and services KINSEP, social cooperatives that, of course, they hold the biggest number in. It's about 90% in our field. And the third type is some special type of KINSEP. It's of cooperatives, workers' cooperatives. They are being referred to the self-employed professionals. They are trying to co-work into a cooperative entity. What about Neet's group? What we think and what we know already is that Neet's group are housed in the second type, the second part of a first type, the type AB for special groups inclusion. So this concept is it's a cooperative that the needs can seek work integration or should do so. The law describes correctly, and says that houses the groups that suffered a long-term unemployment and young unemployed individuals under 25 years old. So, of course, the law describes many other subgroups, but we speak about now about needs. So, the type of concept housing this kind of group, needs group, is special groups inclusion. For this special concept type of inclusion, AB type, the law offered the opportunity for benefit the provisions of Article 20 of the new General Law of Public Contracts. So what the law says, with this special policy, concept AB would have been provided exclusively the access to contracts with public and local authorities, exclusively awarded due to harmonizing with Directive 24 of 2014. And this is a very special opportunity. In particular, the law describes what is described on the Directive 24. What is saying in Directive 24 in Article 36, saying, please, see the letters with color because it is the real text of the article. They say employment and occupation contribute to integration in society and are the key elements of guaranteeing equal opportunities for all. In this context, centered workshops can play a significant role. Of course, speaks about KISPE. It's another kind of cooperative. It is about other care. But continue saying that the same is true for other social businesses whose main aim is to support the social and professional integration or reintegration of disabled and disadvantaged persons, such as are the unemployed, members of disadvantaged minorities, or otherwise socially marginalized groups. So it is very clear that is addressing to the social AB type, the social cooperative of AB type. The policy failed. This policy failed from 2016 till now. Why? The policy, despite its legislative very strong force, has never been implemented because it did not get spread to the society. And it was never been explained to the local authorities, then of course official explained in written what is going on. Public and local governing bodies even now ignore completely what all this about, what the terms disadvantaged and marginalized workers mean, and still remain negative or even worry of awarding contracts exclusively to entities other than those referring to the physically and mentally handicapped. For example, like KISPE, but not to the marginalized inclusion for marginalized groups. What is the imprint of its entities? Today, within a total of 1687 concept, only 10 of them are type AB, inclusion of marginalized groups. The data is coming from August 2020. I mean, the last data published already by the ministry. Just only 10 out of 1687. The explanation is very obvious because they cannot have access to some special benefits. What we think are the steps for the needs inclusion? Driving the supported project by the European Social Fund, a special role dedicated to employment and social economy to the needs, reskilling and upskilling programs. It was very good presentation before by Slovenia that they have seen the apprentices and practitioners programs that is very, very important for the needs group. An intensive and targeted high quality sum of appropriate training sessions should be a must for enabling needs to have modern and innovative jobs, technology, web, social care, etc. Second is encouraging Neet's members to establish work integration cooperatives such as Kinset Type AB, because are just only 10 today. Letting Neets have easy access to work into active social economy entities, so comprehend and incorporate social practices useful to their future employment into social economy field. And fourth, design of programs towards spreading the social benefits of social economy framework to the wider society and the local and public authorities, because they still ignore what is social economy. It is essential to make clear to all what is marginalized special groups and how the work integration exclusion can be confronted. And fifth, and the last, but not the least, taking measurements to ease the access of Kinset AB type to contracts with public and local authorities, as described already in the article 20 from the law 44/12 from 2016. No more exceptions and delays. That's from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stelios. Very interesting presentation with the perspective of the sector in Greece, of what's going on and what are the obstacles and the drivers, both things. From a European perspective, just to say that we fully agree with several elements of your presentation. First of all, that of course there can be a reservation of some tenders to enterprises doing work integration, and secondly, and very important, that socially responsible public procurement, which is one of the fundamentals of today's world. If we want to change our economies, we need to mobilize public expenditure in a positive way. Socially responsible public procurement should benefit or should be favorable for all types of social economy companies. Through reserve markets for enterprises doing work integration of vulnerable collectives, but also through other instruments, through division into lots to ensure that SMEs and social economy enterprises, which are SMEs mostly, can access to the dance. If the dance is only for big players, again, we are excluded. We are excluded from this dance, and we cannot provide services for public administrations. And also through many other instruments such as social and environmental considerations. Elements that benefit social economy enterprises and also other types of enterprises which are responsible. So let's promote through public procurement social economy and also responsible businesses in general. That I think it's quite important. We have arrived almost to the end of our panel. First of all, dear panelists, do you want to react on each other? Anything to add? Anything to ask between yourselves? Seems that not, no? Okay.
Sorry,
Viviana, please.
YouTube, the participants can set up some questions to the speakers or to Victor. And if you want, it's open to discuss about the topic of this table. Thanks.
Thank you, Viviana.
Okay, so I think that there are all questions to Eleni from the European Network of Cities and Regions. So we have some questions already. We have several times been reported difficulties to mobilize existing and still unused EASY funds, so European Structural and Investment Funds for the social economy. Has this problem been solved? And will the latest COVID initiatives taken by the EU be used? This will be a good support for SE initiatives set up by young people. So basically, Greece will make use of the latest COVID initiatives such as SURE, but also, I guess, the next generation EU. So we'll start with that, Eleni, and then we will move with a question to Katia. Eleni, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the question. You want to elaborate on the subsidized and the public policies at this domain, at this field? Yes.
So yeah. What our colleagues from the chat are asking is basically. So the first thing is structural funds. Is there any way Greece is promoting the social economy through structural funds, such as the European Social Fund? Are you thinking about that? Is there anything in place yet? So for instance, mobilizing the European Social Fund to support the social economy? That will be the first question. And the second question from the audience will be, in the current crisis situations, are there any particular measures with European money or with Greek money to support the specific needs of the social economy?
Mm-hmm. The planning of the subsidies of the existing and new social enterprises at regional level has started. We have called for proposals at the region of the Epirus at the operational program of 2014 to 2020. We hope that the other regions will follow with more subsidies and more proposals. It is true that there is unstable implementation of the strategic plan. We have some significant delays, but we hope to solve this problem.
I think that's a positive answer in general terms. Of course, coming from a public administration, we have to be very diplomatic all the time, but I think that is a positive answer. And what I hope, representing the sector at EU level, is that the dialogue between the Greek sector and the Greek ministry will be strengthened, finding solutions and promoting the social economy as a way, as a driver for the development of Greece. And there was a question for Kaya, just a sec. What were the skills identified as missing in young people to get in touch, to get involved in the civil society movement in Slovenia? So what skills, are there any skills that were missing from young people to match the offer with the demands of the civil society?
Yeah, it was interesting because when we asked civil society, not only in Slovenia, but also in Bulgaria and Croatia, we asked what kind of knowledge was missing and what kind of skills was missing. And I wrote down a quote of a person that answered that said, if the person is open and interested, they gradually can learn. So knowledge didn't seem such an issue because, as said, we have a lot of students pouring that have the knowledge. But on the skills side, they were quite unified, and there were 4 skills that were identified as really missing. The top of the list was critical thinking. Then it was ability to take self-initiative, self-criticism, and communication skills. And that were the 4 pillars of skills that were really strongly sensed that were missing when interviews were conducted and when new employees were searched by civil society organization representatives.
Well, very interesting findings, huh? And also significant of the work to do to change the mindset and change of our approximation to the labor market and to the economy in general. So super interesting. Just to conclude, before a pause of 15 minutes, thank you everyone. It is amazing to have this dialogue with public administrations, the social economy sector from Greece, the civil society from Slovenia, and the Mataró public authorities also, so this city of Catalonia public authorities. I think that is a very good opportunity that we have to repeat. It's very good that we are all in touch, we are all talking and exchanging. I guess, Viviana, that we will go for this pause of 15 minutes and be back in a bit with a second panel.
Yes, thank you to all the speakers. The level of this panel has been very high. Congrats to everybody. We will take now a 50 minutes break, and a watch will appear in your screen with a countdown. So I hope nobody will be late to the second part of the conference. Thank you to everybody, and see you in a while.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, I will say bye to Eleni, but she disconnect. Kaja, thanks a lot. A very interesting project. Please send the link of the video because everybody has asked about the video. Victor, see you in a while.
Yeah.
And yes, thanks a lot also, Victor, to chat Bye, Eleni.
Bye,
And
Eleni.
thanks.
Thank you.
And thanks. Great, we solved the audio problem. So at the end, it was fine.
It was okay, finally.
Yes, thank you. And Stelios, thank you also to you. I don't know if you are online or not, but thank you to all the partners.
Yeah, I take the opportunity to say something to Kaja. I would like to be in touch with you for a European project on social innovation. There is right now a call on the ESF and EASY to build precisely support centers. I guess that you are social innovation support centers on national level, and I would like to at some point.
I will. Don't worry. I will send you the emails for all the speak. Pues páralo. Vale. Sí, sácanos. Vale, pues un momentito. Okay, I will send you to all the speakers your email so you can get in touch, Victor.
That would be
okay.
Perfect.
Okay, Kaja. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me? Tengo esto puesto.
Ahora ya se está viendo.
Ahora, ahora sí, ¿se me oye a mí?
Vale.
Sí, sí, te oye bien.
Pero ahora
No.
se ve ya la pantalla de Social Neet, ¿no?
Ahora saldrá, ha salido la vídeo en el momento diciendo que si le podían escuchar.
Ah, vale.
Ahora ya
Vale.
pueden probar desde nosotros.
Ves, sisplau, el meu correu i envien al Víctor si pot entrar, perquè jo no ho puc fer des d'aquí. Hello, ¿me oyen ellos?
Ahora, ¿no?
Hello?
José Luis, ¿me oyen ellos?
Sí,
Can
sí.
you hear me, Vincent and Victor?
Yes, yes. we
Yes,
can
yes.
hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry for the delay. We are
No,
waiting
no problem.
the other Victor
Está saliendo.
Okay.
and
You're on mute, I think.
trying to connect again. So we hope someone gets in. Ha pedido alguien entrada ahora, ¿no?
Ahí te sale, a mí no me parece.
A mí tampoco. Pregúntale a Gaby.
No, es que no aparece aquí en pantalla tampoco.
Ah. Pues yo oigo como si alguien me pidiera entrar, el clean. Victor, Vincent, can you hear me?
De acuerdo.
Yes, I can.
Okay, I will send you now by mail a new link because this link don't work to all the speakers. So sorry for the delay. And in 1 minute, I will send you the new link and try to connect to this one.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Con el mismo. Okay, no, IT guys told me try to the same link. Get out and get in again.
Okay.
Okay?
Vale.
Thank you.
Dejamos de grabar, dejamos de emitir, etc.
Hello, everyone. I think that the meeting is now on streaming again. Please accept our apologies. Please accept our apologies for the technical issues we had and this delay of almost 30 minutes. But we are back, and we are back with a fantastic panel to continue discussing about social economy business models and strategies to combat youth unemployment through the social economy. First of all, we'll give the floor to Peter Gonçalves from the Polytechnical Institute of Bragança in Portugal. So Peter, the floor is yours for your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I will try to share my screen. If you can give me, okay, thank you. It's here, so I think all of you can see my presentation, so I will try to be in time, because if not, it will be a stress for everyone. So I'm trying to talk about how to connect Neet to local social institutions in Bragança through EPB and ADRAT. Mainly, as all of you know, in your countries, it's more or less the same. The situation of young unemployment in Portugal was more or less stabilized until 2019. But as you know, COVID don't be a good guy for us. So the percentage of unemployment are increased from March to July, and this is the last data we have, but I think it's more than 2% now, like more or less from the last news, 4%. In this type of projects, I know the project more or less 15 years ago, days ago, sorry, and we have some main actions, and the main action that is made is the meeting point for Neet with our partner ADRAT. And the other type of main actions I will talk a little bit now. The idea is have several workshops and seminars to the civil society organizations, and obvious in several areas, or it is possible join several areas in this training course for Neet. Before I talk in this program, I will try to give the main idea of entrepreneurship in IPB. We have a small model that we can show in this graph. Since the last 10 years, we join all our students that are interested in entrepreneurship in training sessions, and in these training sessions they can generate the idea of a business. Obvious, they learn how to format this type of business plan, and obvious, if I have a business plan, I have the possibility to formalize this type of project, and obvious, if I have consultants and other guys that help me, I can obvious create a business, and obvious I need financing, and we give some support to find financing institutions to access to the market. So the main ideas to the training course I will present is having a first part that where we will demystify the social entrepreneur to the needs, and obvious try to pass the idea that we have the right part of our brain, and this is the logic part, and not this, the left side is the logic part, and the right side is the creativity part in our brain. So we can join these two parts and try to leave our comfort zone to try to dream with a business and design it, and obvious create it. This is the main idea. Obvious, we have to think and discuss and in several sessions with the needs have the possibility to understand that we want to join in a network. Obvious, if I want to be an entrepreneur, I have risks, but obvious, I have the possibility to make these risks with responsibility. Obvious, I have to be scared about it, but obvious, we have to stay strong. If we stay strong, we can sell, even if we are talking about social institutions. We have to, obviously, maintain ourselves in continuous training and stay motivated to work together in a good entrepreneur idea. The main idea is try to pass the concepts to create a social entrepreneur that can give ideas, new ideas to all problems of social organizations, and have obvious big impact on this. If we have social enterprise, we cannot ignore that in the borders we have some traditional charity models and obvious the traditional business models. So we have to have interactions with this type of models. As all of you know, we have 17 goals in the sustainable development model. So we are talking about this the last 20 years. I believe, and all of you believe, that being an entrepreneur can be the way to improve some areas, some social areas. Obviously, the main idea of the training methodology will be start with autonomy and have the self-knowledge to give some motivation and determination to all needs, and obvious exploring their interests and identify the areas of competence they have, and try to develop the technical knowledge they obviously have. And obviously, if I have this, I can plan and try to have the possibility to have a strategy, a personal strategy. If I don't have it, I have the possibility to have a training plan, or if I have some skills, I can obviously have a career plan. Obviously, to do this, we will try to join our needs and try to pass the idea. First, they have to know themselves, and after them know their groups, their partners, and obvious their team that will work on the business idea. One of the models we will try to pass is design thinking, how they can understanding the challenge, and to do this is thinking about who is my team, and after what I have to solve, what is the problem I have to solve, and how I will solve this problem. We can have brainstorm sections, scamper sections, etc., to try to prototype a solution or have several prototypes and choose one to test it in the labor market. Another type of models we will explore, it will be the Disney creative strategy. It's a simple strategy that we pass the idea that in ourselves we have three types of Disneys. We have the dreamer Disney that dream with a vision, dream with dream what is the model, the business model we like to have. And after we have the realist or the designer. The designer design the model or the business I dream. And after this, I have to be more critic and analyze more carefully the idea that I design, the business idea that I design. So we will talk about. Yes.
Sorry to cut you. I will give you, as we're a bit late, I will give you 1 more minute to finish the presentation.
Okay, no problem. I'm trying to finish it. These are the main models we have, and we will talk about these models, obvious, and trying to have the business model canvas of business that the new social entrepreneurs have to deliver to our community. This will be the business model canvas that they will more or less fill, as you know. So my proposal is that when we want to create a business, the first idea is don't kill your ideas at first. Put the ideas on paper, design it, but calculate the risk of your ideas. We have a program here working summer with science, and we will use 5 students to help us identifying stakeholders and social organizations and do some work in this type of idea. And obvious, all partners, not only IPB and ADRET, but all of you have the knowledge, know-how and competencies like I listing you, how implement projects like this and all this type of projects. So if you need this presentation, this is the link to have it, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Vitor, for this model you have designed for entrepreneurship in general and for social economy entrepreneurship in particular in your region. It's quite interesting. Now we will move to Lucas Rachel, if I am not wrong, from a social economy enterprise in Mataró area. So Lucas, the floor is yours to present your experience, what you do, and your beautiful project. I already assume that it's beautiful because any social economy project coming from the ground has a strong social dimension and a good story behind. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will present Campo Gorolas in Mataró, which is close to Barcelona. We are a project which was born about 7 years ago And just that you can have an imagination a little bit what kind of how we started, I will show you some pictures. Let's see if this works.
It does.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, just I leave it in the background. So this was a abandoned big space, an old car repair shop with several floors. And in the first idea, it was for a circus. You still can see it, huh? Okay. The idea was for a circus in Mataró. They needed some training space, and they saw this factory, so they thought we can go in, but it's too big just for us as circus. And so we joined forces with a lot of associations. So Canfaguras it's a federation of associations. There are about 10 to now about 20 or even 25 different associations in this space, and all come from the arts or for environmental projects or social economy. So each association is somehow related to these fields. We are completely in Spanish you say autogestionado. We organize ourselves by ourselves. There is no formal lead of the project. So no leader, no external structure, let's say. So we really have an assembly every 2 weeks where all the collectives or all the associations can send a representative. And inside this assembly, everything is talked and decided how the project goes on. Now we now are here for 7 years. I was quite surprised when I just read it. Yes, it's already 7 years from 2013. And also, what I think is special about our project, it's the big variety of people and of projects which form part of this federation. So as you can see in the photos, there is a construction, a shop where you can repair things.
Lucas, just to let you know, we are not seeing the photos. The video has stopped open. Yeah.
Okay, I share it again. Okay.
There you go. Now we see everything.
Okay. So just to cite some projects, there is the circus, which is a very big project. They have a place for artists. They have project with different artists, also visits in residence which come here. But there are also food cooperatives. They distribute local and ecological food. So I started again, so you can see it from the beginning. We have a co-working space where persons who have a personal project, for example, that would be very interesting for Victor. There are many entrepreneurs here. They're doing their own projects. We have in the open space, there are some gardening, local gardening project where the neighbors of the Havana region can participate in the project and plant their vegetables. So it's really a big mixture between artists, between education, between and also economy projects. We have a car sharing cooperative called Mobilidad. We do share electric cars. That's where I forming part. So that I think makes this project quite special. Also, they are very, in terms of age diversity, we have many things for children going on here. We also have older people. So it's really a great mixture of different kind of people, different motivations, different ages. But of course, we somehow all have the same ideas about collaborative movements, about social economy and the importance of arts in our life. what else? We, as I said, we just are self-governed. We don't have really some subsidies, so we pay all the expensive. We share the expensive between all the collectives in a fair way. We pay the rent for the space together. So, and if a new collective would come and would like to enter, he has to present his project, he has to explain which space he would like to occupy, and then in the 2-weekly assembly, it's decided if this new collective can join, to which conditions. Of course, now it's quite complicated because all the spaces, we are booked out, let's say. There is not a lot of free space. Yes, and I think also it's to mention that really we work now for 7 years in this way, and that's, for me, it's personally, it's quite it's also a big achievement, and I'm really happy of that we have managed to also, of course, sometimes there's some conflicts, there are different opinions and everything, but we manage in a quite good way to solve this and govern this place collectively in a very efficient way. And the projects which grow from here, which somehow they needed this, they need a place to start growing. So this is really amazing. The circus company, they now have, for example, they do tours around all Europe, some of them. We have car sharing cooperatives. We build up a network of different car sharing cooperatives in all Europe. So this is really, you need somehow a space to make these things grow. And also there are a lot of synergies between the different collectives. So if you need some graphical assistance, we go to somebody who can do that, or technology assistance. Yeah, that's, I think, the main points of Camfrugorolas.
All righty. Dankeschön, Lucas.
Are there any questions about?
But no, personally, I will briefly react. I am sure there will be questions, but what I want to say is that I get very excited indeed with these types of projects, and let's try to focus on different points. First of all, Lucas, I have been looking for you on the internet while you were talking, I see that you are an expert on platform cooperativism, which is a big word right now. So let's focus on some points. First of all, we are talking about a recovery plan for Europe, Next Generation EU, and a Green Deal, trying to boost the transition towards a more green economy, and you're doing car sharing platforms, which is without any doubt part of the future. We are also in the middle of a terrible crisis, which is particularly hitting the cultural sector, and you host a lot of cultural associations, cultural co-ops of whatever legal form of the social economy, whatever democratic and collective form, which is I think very interesting. And also you are connected. What is important is that you are not isolated in Europe. You have a very big space, but experiences like yours are happening all over the European Union, of artists, cultural workers uniting, not being isolated, not being only self-employed, but uniting in spaces in a democratic way, sharing and building projects together. I think that is super interesting, and super interesting, showing the diversity of the social economy. Associations, co-ops, other forms, and also from forms of direct democracy like yours, super horizontal, a general assembly each 2 weeks, to forms of participative democracy. So I think that it is a very interesting experience, and I am sure that the viewers will have questions. But let's give also the floor to the other speakers. So I will move to Mrs. Vera Tica, who is a researcher in the Pantheon University, and that will speak also about social economy as an ecosystem for combating youth unemployment. So Vera, the floor is yours. You are muted, Vera. Now it should work.
Hi to everyone. Many congratulations for this wonderful conference, virtual conference. I will speak on behalf of the...
Can you speak closer to your mobile phone because the audio is not very good? So if you can, yeah.
It's not so good. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Now it's perfect.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the Institute of Social Economy in Athens, in Mecca. And the title of my presentation would be on the social economy as an ecosystem of job creation. For revolution, labor, as we experience a deep restructure.
Vera, we are having trouble with your connection. We're not hearing you very well. So what I propose is that we pass the floor to another speaker. We try to solve your issues, and then we come back to you.
Okay.
All right. So now I'll give the floor to sorry, just one second. To Marco Bettini, which I believe you are from Bologna and from a social economy enterprise there. So please tell us about your project.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all. I hope that everything is working fine.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Now I have to present a very big project for us because it's the first really full comprehensive project for us, because I started playing with SimEarth in 1990, and I started feeling that we have to respect our ambient, all the nature and our ecosystem. So during the youth, I started with this idea, and now I'm really happy that I founded other people that share with me the necessity for us now in this period to start to make a more stable and more efficient economy. So when they invented or exported everywhere the circular economy term, I saw, yes, is really right. And we decided to bring in our territory, in Bologna and in Umbria, an interesting project that make a system of necessity for the third sector and another necessity for all the people. So we decided to use circularly the waste and energy that freely is given to us by the nature, with hydropower, wind, and sun. We will make at disposition of the community and the community services the energy resource at a cost-effective price. We are socially interested. We don't need to make a business, because I think, but we think with my colleagues that gaining on the resources is too much easy. It's more important not to earn money, but make a more stable society. And so we decided to make grow all the person and all the communities around our installations, giving the cost effective or the resources, so hydrogen or power, or the project. So we are starting to develop a mini plant to demonstrate that our project is cost effective and working. With a Big Green B-Labs and a Big Green project, we decided to make a foundation without no sorry for my English, no economy interest.
Not for profit.
Not for profit interest, to collect money and use only to develop projects useful for the community, leaving the project then free to use for other communities outside our. So with the third sector, we found it a really big need, because I don't know exactly around Europe or around the world, but in Italy, the third sector is suffering now. And so giving them the ability to cut off the cost for the fuel and for transportation for the person that is in a small village, for us is important, because it's the really perfect application of our idea to make a small production using everything we have near us. In Umbria, we have many water, so we will use water and wind to make it hydrogen. And then I think it's easy. I am a technician, so I'm not a good speaker, but I think that is important that this way to bring the intent, as Victor said before, and you also, is important to make a new idea of the society. Now our society is not for a all-time growing, because nothing in the nature is always growing. We say that we have Big Bang and Big Crunch, so our universe will crunch, and then in many million years will re-explode. So if the man, the people, the society will accept that we live now in a closed place, we have to use all our resources in the best way and offer the excess of our resources to other people, because we have already paid, so we don't have a cost. So if we paid something, why have to go to put it in the waste? I prefer to share with you, help you to grow, because if you grow, you will remember me, and if you will remember me, probably will offer something that for you is a waste, and for me is a waste. Okay, sorry if it's many words and no pictures. Sorry, but I think this is the real juice of the discussion. So I hope for the next appointment to give you some pictures and some real experiences. Now we are working on the plant, so we have nothing working. We are in an early stage, but we will start as soon as possible. I think next year. So we will bring you some proof, an example, and data, because data is really important. Thank you very much for the time, and sorry for my English.
Marco, it was a great presentation. So no worries, because you are very much in the spirit of circularity, of reusing the resources that we have, and not ending the planet by consuming like resources were infinite. We know that they aren't, and also you have created a company or an organization at the service of the Italian third sector, which I think is a super interesting idea. By the way, for the non-Italians, the third sector basically is social cooperatives, associations, foundations, all the Italian NGOs, the ethical banks, the fair trade movement. So everything that works for providing social services, active citizenship, an economy with values, and in general also integrating in the labor market vulnerable people by providing a very different and extensive variety of services and products. It's a very well developed reality in Italy that has a legislation, and it's fantastic to have this type of instruments at the support of the third sector, and also making the third sector being more innovative.
Yes.
Developing like hydrogen fuels, etc., which is also very much in line with what the European Union is trying to support through the Green Deal and through the Next Generation EU. What we need is to connect your reality, also from my perspective at least, with the European reality, and to make possible for your projects.
We hope so.
Not only the big ones, not only Enel getting funding for the energy transition, but also companies of your size getting funded and being supported. It is not easy, but I believe that we can build instruments to ensure that.
This is important because we find. Sorry if I interrupt you, but the real problem that we found is that it's difficult to have access to the existence of some instruments. For us that we are, as I said before, technicians, is really difficult because the Europe sometime in Italy feels so far. But we are all in Europe.
Absolutely,
so
yes.
The instruments to make Europe near the small realities is really important, I think.
But we are totally in the same fight. The reality. So first of all, Europe is doing things that are fantastic. What we need to create is intermediaries between Europe and the civil society and SMEs, because the reality is that right now we are underrepresented. For instance, in the Juncker Plan, we represent 2% of the projects funded by the Juncker Plan, whereas we are almost 10% of the European GDP. Why? Because of oversight. So it's not that Europe is bad, it's that we need to be clever and generate instruments to access EU funding, to make it possible for people like you to access EU funding, and not only with the big players that of course have all the capacities to access the EU funding and the teams and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So we'll give the floor now to Vera Tika. Hopefully we will hear you now well, and yeah, now I mean we really hope to be able to listen to you.
Okay, so once again, hello to everyone. I'm going to speak about social economy as an ecosystem for generating jobs. In the transition from the second to the third industrial revolution, labor, as we know it, is experiencing a restructuring. Labor is being reinvented in many fields and in new fields. Many, and in this context, many will be forced to be self-employed beyond paid work. We are at a historical turning point that, due to technological developments and it's called technological unemployment, as the opportunities for job creation by employers are narrowing. And this, of course, contradicts the well-established notion that every technological advancement develops the demand for workers. The fact the Industrial Revolution developed wage labor to an unprecedented level does not mean that with further automation, robotics, and computer science, we will have the same trend. Contrary, we are seeing a complete overthrow of it. Another dimension of modern times is the ambiguity of the time period in which we are living and the system. On the one hand, great competition.
Yeah, again, we have a connection problem, Vera.
Innovation and automation plus intellectual property ensure high profits for the capital that buys, invests in innovations. This fact contrasts the forces of the second from the third industrial revolution in the field of capital and labor, an internal conflict that alters the data. Throughout the period marked by the industrial age, we had a rapid growth of
Yes, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Now.
Yeah. Employment was a prerequisite for business profits, and earnings are a prerequisite for the creation of new jobs by employers. When profits no longer come from this relationship, but for a large part of the capital, come mainly from automation.
Viviana, what do we do? Oh, yeah, sorry. No, continue, Vera, continue. Now we are hearing you.
Okay, so employers in small and medium-sized enterprises who objectively create a significant part jobs lose the incentive to do business. The data we have for Greece in the last decade is that 1/3 of small and medium enterprises have closed as unsustainable and will not be replaced by the market in the foreseeable future. The state also, with a reduced tax base and revenues, not only cannot expand recruitment, but cannot even maintain them at the same level, as it necessarily manages fewer resources and has to meet more needs in social policy and social benefit system. Therefore, the question that arises is which sector of the economy will fill this gap in the chain of supply and demand of new jobs, and how? How to generate income for those excluded from markets and the state? The answer to the most advanced economies of the West exists and has been given. It is the third non-profit sector, the social solidarity economy, consumer and productive cooperatives, the emerging sector that in Europe, America, and China currently occupies about 10% of the economy, of the activity of the economy. But one would say that cooperatives are not something new and that they are a history of 2 centuries. They existed throughout the Industrial Revolution. However, they played a minor role in development, in the growth of the economy. Indeed, they grew up in the shadow of large corporations that had greater potential and capacities for capital raising, business flexibility to withstand competition. But now the profit in many conventional companies is nullified, and some of them are forced to lock or make clusters or partnerships in order to survive. Thus, out of necessity, cooperatives are back in the news as they can operate in scale economies with little or no profit, but offering as incentive income and reduced prices to its members and consumers. The noticeable difference is that the members are the same investors and consumers, thus abolishing mediation. The abolition of mediation is also the strong advantage of social cooperatives. It makes social enterprises viable where small and medium-sized private companies cannot be, for reasons of competition, example in the field of catering, home assistants, caretakers, gardeners, etc. Energy cooperatives, housing, and consumer today offer strong incentives for self-managed entrepreneurship and additional jobs. They can become entrepreneurs, united consumers, members of an entire community. Businesses can become cultural institutions and humanitarian charities. Organizations. They can activate inactive resources, buildings, abandoned facilities, scholastic lands, common areas, etc. They can organize inactive human resources by offering social services in the field of nutrition, health, and social services. They can employ unskilled people to help them at home. All this traditional but also necessary tasks of everyday life, because of the fact that they do not have the motivation and automation of profit, need institutional organization, social and political support in order to thrive. That is why when we talk about the development of the social economy and the strengthening of employment through it, the precondition is the existence of an ecosystem for the social economy, which is understood as an institutional favorable environment for it to grow. It is not only the appropriate legislation for social enterprises that is needed, but also mainly the resources, the policy, the organizational standards, and the organizational collaborative culture that constitute the institutional environment. Involvement of the whole community in this environment in the capacity of producer and consumer at the same time without the mediation of trade. Utilizing the social capital of networks and volunteering, utilizing also the common culture, heritage, and common areas, claiming from the political system the resources that are appropriate for the third sector of the economy. It is, of course, the responsibility of society also itself and civil society organizations to highlight the spirit of collaboration that create jobs by working together, to create clusters and partnerships, to be able to mobilize sufficient resources and produce more goods and services for the most weak social groups. The objective is to protect these social groups and especially young people from economic employment exclusion, but also from social exclusion. The problem for the social economy is not only to train the young unemployed in new fields to find work where there is overcrowding for the few jobs offered anyway from the labor market, but to create new jobs where there is a real need for nutrition, health, information, and culture. There are many successful examples such as agritourism, ecotourism, socially supported agriculture sector, and culture entrepreneurship that have boosted local self-sufficiency. Also, internet communities that have come up with social software management companies. The individual examples, however, do not constitute the solution to the general problem of youth unemployment. We need a holistic approach to job creation by social enterprises that can lead to an institutional framework and resources for the development of these businesses. The EU has relevant policies and directives, and this perception must be passed down, transferred to the regions and the local government. In Greece, the regions have European community resources for social economy, but unfortunately, they divert them to other sectors of the economy. The Ministry of Labor, for example, subsidizes mainly temporary employees in the local government. With this policy, the last 8 years have been deprived of resources from the field of social economy, with the consequence that social enterprises are the only ones that are not supported by the community framework. But in this way, modern society lacks the ability to create alternative ways of creating jobs and incomes for young people. In a democratic state, however, what is not perceived from above requires pressure from below to be accepted. A program that aims to mobilize social enterprises to work in clusters, but also regionally in associations that can help to mature the conditions for more employment in the third sector of the economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vera. It's obvious that you have a very interesting perspective as a researcher, a good understanding of the general picture, also of the political relations of how the social and solidarity ecosystem is treated in your country, and also even of the history of the cooperative movement and the social economy. So I think that you have a very rich perspective on the social economy. And it's good that, again, it's very good that we are all here exchanging about that. And now we will move to Vincent Laguerre, who is Policy Officer at the European Commission DG Employment, and particularly in the unit working on job creation, which is the one responsible for social economy. Vincent will, of course, react to everything that has been said, or I mean, to the extent he wants, and also precisely talk about what the European Commission is doing to promote the social economy, and about what the European Commission is planning to do to support the development of the social economy across Europe, and also supporting the local and regional authorities, and supporting the social economy movement all over Europe. Big expectations, as you can see, Vincent, in the work the European Commission is doing to inspire others. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Victor. Can you hear me? It's okay?
We hear you very well.
Okay. So thanks a lot for the introduction and putting so much pressure on my shoulders. Thanks a lot also to the members of the Social Neet project and the Matera City Council for giving me a chance to introduce the plans of the European Commission for Social Economy. It's also a great opportunity for me, and it's always a great opportunity to listen to enriching experience from the ground. And to see how stakeholders on the ground are implementing activities that we keep talking about in Brussels. So it's always very useful for us. I think that's Marco, Lucas, and Victor this morning have well illustrated how social economy can turn some of the social challenges into sustainable opportunities, especially on the local level. I think that this role of the social economy to make the most out of the social challenges is even more important now in the context of the COVID-19 crisis. the contribution of social economy to address the impact of this crisis while promoting sustainable models has to be acknowledged at all levels. It must be acknowledged at regional level, and that's what the Mataró City Council is doing today. This shall be acknowledged at national level, but also at the European level. And this is in this context that the Commission will put forward an action plan by the end of 2021 to support social economy and to frame the EU action in this support to a social economy. As you know, we are not starting from a blank page at EU level. We already have existing initiatives to try to frame the action of the EU towards social economy, like the Social Business Initiative from 2011, and the follow-up of this initiative, the Startup and Scale-up Initiative of 2016. Currently, we are carrying out a big study to help us to collect evidence of the impact of these two initiatives, these two previous initiatives on social economy EU-wide. We try to collect also the new difficulties that the sector is facing and the extent to which we as a policy designer are able to tackle at our levels. Many stakeholders and representatives of the social economy have already contributed to this study. We also rely very much on a group of experts that we have at EU level, which is made of representatives from the member states, from the EU national or local organization, from mutuals, cooperative, innovators, WISE, etc., etc. So we are really for the time being, into this step where we try to gather as much as evidence from the ground to be able to serve as much as we can and as appropriately as we can the needs of the social economy. I just mentioned also another ongoing consultation from the Commission, which is the one on the implementation of the European Pillar of Social Rights, which is open until the end of November 2020, because we always invite the stakeholders of the social economy to reply in the frame of the public consultation and to help us to raise the profile of social economy in helping us to ensure a social and sustainable recovery. So the public consultation is open until end of November 2020. So if you want to provide your input, I think that would be very helpful for us. So that's a bit about the process on how we intend to come up with this action plan for social economy. Now I will maybe cover the why. Why are we coming with an action plan on social economy now? As I mentioned, we already had one in 2011. What's new, I would say, and what is the reason why we want to come with such a plan now? I think that as it was mentioned throughout the morning, there is a clear momentum for social economy. First, because of the impact of the COVID-19 crisis, as I mentioned, this crisis has unprecedented economic, financial, and social impacts on the entire economy, including on social economy organizations, and the EU has to stand by all type of organization, including the ones from the social economy. But aside from these impacts on the social economy sector, I think that the crisis has also be a kind of opportunity to showcase how much social economy organizations can help us mitigate the impact of the crisis. We could see that the social economy organization have been very resilient in adapting to the new challenges of the crisis, providing welfare services, providing digital trainings to people, to lonely people. And we think that in this context, we need at the EU level to make sure that we are able to reap the possible benefits that can come from social economy organizations. And indeed, in some countries, most probably Western countries, you will see a well-developed ecosystem for social economy organizations, but there is also a lot of untapped potential all across the EU continent. And I think that on this issue, the EU needs to act. Just a figure, and I won't give you more figures because I know how boring it can be, but if you look at the global picture at EU level, the share of paid employment from the social economy varies between 0.6% in some member states up to 10% in other. So we can clearly see here that there is a potential to reap in some parts of the EU. Maybe aside from the crisis aspect, and this has been very well illustrated this morning, we think that social economy has also a lot to contribute to one of the overarching priority of the Commission and the EU as a whole for the next decade, which is to ensure a fair and just green transition. As you know, the Green Deal is a roadmap, a compass at EU level for making Europe's economy sustainable. And I'm convinced about that, and I could see it this morning. Social economy can act as a pioneer here. We saw it with the example of Marco, but also the example of Lucas. Social economy. At the very heart of social economy, there is this sustainable feature that makes them very fit for providing support to the transition towards a sustainable and green economy. And there was also the Vera also alluded to the energy cooperative that we see more and more acting in the energy sector, and which will undoubtedly be a way to make sure that we are able to provide energy at a fair price to citizens, because of course there are drawbacks also to the green transition, and energy poverty is a risk that we will need to address, and most probably social economy will be a way to overcome such an issue. There is also the issue of the skills. We need to make sure, if we want the green transition to be a success, we need to make sure that we have the right skills to ensure this transition, and that no one is left behind in this transition. We have at EU level what we call the skills agenda, which is a kind of a blueprint at EU level to frame the action of the EU to make sure that we have these skills available. In the frame of this agenda, we will have a joint call, with which we will try to initiate a collective action to mobilize businesses, social partners, and stakeholders to commit to work together and ensure that we have a clear road to providing the right skill for the green transition. This will take place in the frame of what we call the Pact for Skills, which will be launched in November. And I hope that the stakeholders from the social economy will be able to mobilize and make their voice heard in this context. So that's a bit for the context and how we can embed the action plan for social economy into the strategies of the Commission. And how social economy should go beyond the pure sector of the social economy. And I think it was really well explained by Vera, the potential of social economy to go beyond the use that we make today of social economy, especially at EU level. And that's one of the objectives of this action plan, is actually to raise the profile of the social economy and to show how social economy can contribute to wider objectives of the Commission. In order to do that, and here again, I think that Vera clearly made the case, we need to make sure that we have the good enabling condition for the social economy to continue create jobs, to continue provide accessible services, to foster even more upskilling and reskilling of the workers, especially in the frame of the green transition, and to address environmental challenges. Of course, at this stage, it's very difficult to provide you with more details about the actions that we will have in the action plan. First, because this will come in due time, and this will come from the Commissioner, not from me, and also because, as I said, we are in the middle of a consultation process. So for the moment, we are gathering evidence about where the the EU should act to be more effective. Maybe what I can share with you at this stage is the kind of challenges that have been already reported by stakeholders on the ground. One of them being the lack of visibility and recognition, which was already a challenge in 2011 and is still a challenge at EU level. This is a very complex issue. this is a very complex issue, especially at the EU level, because it's very difficult at EU level to delineate clearly what is social economy. It's already very difficult at national level, but even more difficult at EU level. So here we need to develop the conceptual framework, or we need to help develop a conceptual framework which will be compliant with the historical traditions in each of the EU member states. You have definition of social economy in law, for example, in some countries like France. You have definition of social economy in the constitution, sometimes like in Portugal, and it's not up to the Commission to try to harmonize something which has been existing at national level for years and sometimes for centuries. But this, of course, creates an issue of recognition of the social economy sector at EU level. This creates difficulties in collecting, for example, statistics that are comparable across EU member states, and which makes it difficult to make the case for social economy. So we need to continue working hand in hand with member states to try to see how to overcome this difficulty and to be able to make a social economy more visible. There is also an issue of visibility at international level. I think it was Vitor mentioning the SDG. So we are, as a Commission, also working at United Nations level. Commission is part of the UN Task Force on Social Economy, where for the time being we have a limited role. We basically promote the actions that are carried out by the EU. But on this aspect of the international recognition, maybe there is something for the Commission to push. Then there is also the question of the framework. I think it was mentioned by Vera also. We need to make sure, at least stakeholders have reported the some difficulties to make the most of the existing framework, legal framework. If you think about socially responsible procurement, or if you think about state aid rules, we have been told that for sometimes on the ground it's very difficult to make sure that you comply with this rule. So it kind of refrains some stakeholders to reap the benefit of the existing framework. And I think that here, as you said also, Victor, we need to make a better link between the EU level and the local level. Then there is the issue of access to finance. It's an issue not only for the social economy, it's an issue also for a lot of different sectors. If you think about cultural and creative sectors, they have the same issue of the access to finance, but it's clearly an issue for social economy as well. We've tried to, following the initiative of 2011 I was mentioning in the beginning, we've tried to address the issue. We have partially succeeded in addressing the issue, developing programs like EASY, developing guarantee schemes that are benefiting to social economy organizations on the ground. With these programs, we have started to increase the capacities of social finance intermediaries on the ground, and we have fostered access to finance for some social enterprises. But of course, a lot still needs to be done, especially in those countries which have not been able to reap the benefit of the guarantee scheme, because we see that, especially maybe in Central and Eastern Europe, the uptake of these programs from the EU have not been as successful as in western part of Europe. And here again, I think there is also a better link to make between the EU level and the local level in these countries. I'll stop here because otherwise I will tell you more than I should tell you about the action plan. I know also that I'm the last obstacle between you and your lunch. So I'll stop here and I give you back the floor, Victor.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for the very also comprehensive presentation. I think that there is something very positive. There are many things, but particularly something very positive, which is the sensitiveness towards what the others say. This is important. The volunteer of the European Commission to hear as much actors as possible, get inspired from them, learn from them, etc., etc. I will not, of course, I will not give answers to all the boxes or to all the questions that were opened by Vincent. But what I think is that in order to make this connection between the European and the local, between the European and the national, what we also need is more structuration. A structuration from the public administrations, but also from the sector itself. Also to have more of a common identity and a less divisive identity, or an identity that is not perceived by public administration as divisive. Because at the end of the day, the reality isn't divisive. No, we are talking about many and many business models which are linked to, as Vincent said, the historical tradition of member states, but that at the end of the day, share the essential values. And also, structuration of the sector is especially important where the sector has a limited role. Without the structuration, without intermediary organisms, it is difficult to have a common strategy to make the sector grow. So those will be my reactions. I don't know if there are any questions from the public, from the audience, or between the different speakers. Anything to add, colleagues? Okay, so maybe we'll give the floor to Viviana, who is like the host of this whole conversation, to say goodbye and maybe other things.
Thank you, Victor, and thank you. We have reached the end of the session. We hope everyone enjoyed the presentations, the experience, the initiative we want to show that happen across Europe. It has been a pleasure from Mataró to organize this first social economy conference, and special to show that we can make things in a different way, and it is possible. All these initiatives from the first table and from the second has shown that social economy has potential, and it's possible to make the things in a different way. Thank you to every speakers, Vincent, also for enjoy us and for close this conference. Also thanks to all Social Neet partners for their support, and a special thanks to Victor to be in charge from the two tables, the first and the second, and also to all the audience that has been with us through the morning despite the technical problems. And we remind you that you can download today's conference in our YouTube channel. We will recording it in a few hours. And we also invite you to visit the Social Neet website. It's socialneet.eu. So you can keep a track of each progress and all the initiatives we are doing in the next months. Thanks to everybody. Enjoy and have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.